This
Today I am
conference
here
will
to
now be
discuss
recorded.
some details about industrial microbiology. First of all, what is industrial microbiology? See, we have different areas of microbiology, like as a medical microbiology and many other fields. And coming to this industrial microbiology, this is completely an area of applied microbiology, where the things we have learned about the microbes and other regarding and other areas regarding the microbiology are applied here for the commercial use for our own purposes. And this can also be explained as it is an area of microbiology where the chemical engineering principles are completely used. So it is a very interesting area of microbiology where we enhance our knowledge and convert our theoretical knowledge into experimental knowledge. And today we'll discuss some main factors in this industrial biology. So next slide, please. Next slide. Today we'll be discussing about an important factor in the industrial microbiology, that is a bioreactor, which we also call it as a fermenter. So next slide, please. First of all, before coming to this a typical bioreactor or a fermenter, what is the meaning of fermentation? In olden days, the fermentation was named as was named based on the process of bubbling obtained when sugar or sugar substances underwent transformation by alcoholic beverages. For example, let us consider ethanol preparation. We think any alcohol preparation that we have done in our homes or in our laboratories. For example, let us also consider that sugar syrup, when we prepare, we obtain some of the bubbles. So the bubble formation is also a type of fermentation. And when we prepare dosa batter or some idli batter, for the next day, we obtain the quantity more than we have the day before. So this is also a type of fermentation. So in our regular use, we use different types of fermentations, and conversion of milk to curd is also a type of fermentation where lactic acid bacteria are used. So this fermentation process is generally used from household to up to industrial purposes. When we consider up to industrial purpose, these are not generally prepared like the vessels we have in home. If the fermentation process in industry is separately done in a separate vessel, which is known as a bioreactor or a fermenter. When we come to bioreactor, it is an instrument which is used for the fermentation process. And here in this industrial purposes, different types of microorganisms are used based on the product we need to produce. That is, we generally use fermentation for the commercial purposes. And for example, we use fermentation for the production of antibiotics, for the production of different types of acid, lactic acid and acetic acid, like that. Different types of acids are also produced by using this fermentation process. And when we look into this bioreactor, it consists of different parts. So next slide, please. Yeah, these are the components of a bioreactor. When we can just zoom in to observe the picture very clearly. There are different types of different parts in this bioreactor, and the main parts I have mentioned on the left side. They are main body, temperature control, aeration devices, agitators, probes for pH control, inoculation bath, sampling line, foam controlling devices, cooling jackets, and pressure gauge. Like that, we have different parts. And the main usage of one of the parts are given in the next coming slides. And you just remember this picture so that you can clearly understand what I'll explain in the next slide. So next slide, please. The first component is main body. See, first of all, when we assume a fermenter, the main thing we need to observe is with what substance we need to build a fermenter or bioreactor. Generally, most of the fermenters are made up of steel or glass. But the steel or glass are not suitable for some type of acid production fermentations, and hence mainly for the I have mentioned that mainly for lactic acid fermentations, wooden fermenters are used, and the base should be slightly rounded at the edges or completely flattened based on the type of aerators used and agitators used. That will have it in the further slice. And next, temperature control. There is an optimum temperature where the microorganisms can grow. That is for around 30 to 40 degrees centigrade. We assume. See, whenever we do work, keep the microbes for the side. And for example, let us consider ourselves. When we do a huge amount of work continuously, our body profusely produces sweat. That is a huge amount of heat is produced from our body because vigorous exercise makes our body to produce a large amount of heat. Similarly, in the case of microorganisms, when the microorganisms are completely continuously agitated, means agitation means mixing, or when the during the fermentation process, the microbes have to work continuously to produce their further generation months. So due to this, a high amount of heat is produced. This high amount of heat produced may cause effect sometimes. So to control this temperature, a temperature control, that is a thermostat, is placed at top of the fermenter, which can measure the temperature of the fermentation process, that is for a medium. And when the higher amount of heat is produced, we have cooling jackets at the side of the fermenter. Like we just say for a wooden box, we'll have pipes all around. So through that, whenever the excess heat is produced, we will pass the cool water from those cooling jackets, and we have an inlet for the cooling jackets and outlet for the cooling jackets. See, when the cool water is passed through those pipes, all the heat in this media in that bioreactor is diffuses into the cooling jackets, that is water present in the cooling area. We all know this is a general simple process that is known as diffusion. Through this process of diffusion, the heat produced or the heat generated in the bioreactor gets diffused or gets reduced by this into the cooling jackets. And next, sometimes some of the extra heat is recommended to perform those to enhance the function of the microorganisms. In that case, when we require when we require high amount of heat, we generally implant a internal heating coil which is controlled water bath, which is controlled with the help of those thermostat. And when controlled water bath, why I have mentioned that controlled water bath means these cooling jackets are when these cooling jackets are continuously moved with cool water, and this completely lets out the water present in that fermentation broth, that is the fermenter. And in this process we can control the temperature. And next slide please. Next, coming to the aerators. Aerators, these are also known as spargers. In general language, we use it as a sparger. These spargers are mainly used for producing air, for sending air into the bioreactor. And air is an essential factor for aerobic respirating microorganisms. And most of the fermentation processes uh, are produced by these aerobic microorganisms. And this is the reason why these starches used in these bioreactors play an important role. And There are different types of sparges also. These sparges generally produce a fine small bubbles of air than producing a large bubbles of air. See, we all know that when we compare the volume of let us take a large balloon and many small balloons together. When we compare those small balloons, the total volume of the small balloons may be equal to that of the large balloon. But when we calculate the surface area, which is different from that of the volume, the surface area of small bubbles will definitely, the sum of the surface area of small bubbles will always be greater than the surface area of the large bubble. So that is the reason why the air bubbles are pumped in the smaller size, not as in the bigger size. And always when we need to send the air into the fermenter, generally the air is sent in the form of small air bubbles. And the air bubbles in entering into the bioreactor must be passed through the filters. If you have observed of the diagram in the previous slide clearly, we generally have a with vertical plate-like structure which is having filters on it, and from those different types of, based on the types of orifices, that is the pore size, different types of air bubbles are produced. For example, we can compare it with to the our normal air conditioners, from which air is passed through the flying filter-like substances. So next slide please. There are different types of aerators based on the types of sparges used. See, aerator means generally we known as sparger. Aerator is a term which we use to understand clearly. That is when we need to build a bioreactor. Aerators, that is aerating devices are included, and those aerating devices are known as sparges. And there are three different types of sparges used: porous sparger, size sparger, and nozzle sparger. And first coming to the porous sparger, these are generally made of sintered glass or ceramic or metal, and it is
Hello?
hello sir, am I clear?
Yes, Rivali, you are audible. You go
I'm
ahead.
audible.
Yeah, Swamini, it's a humble request to you. Please, you mute your mic.
Okay, sir. So first coming to porous sparger, it is made of sintered glass, ceramic or metal, and the size of the bubble is 10 to 100 times larger than that of the pore size. For example, let us consider the pore size of these sparges may be up to nanometer size, and it 10 to 100 times larger means it is somewhat nearer to, let us consider it as a millimeter size. So the air bubbles comes out in the form of millimeter size or length or diameter consisting of one air bubble is produced in this porous particle. And the main limitation is also that one only, because 1 millimeter is the higher, is very much larger when compared to the size of the microorganism, and hence this may cause blocking, that is clogging of those pore. And this is the main limitation why these porous sparges are not used mostly. And next coming to orifice sparger. These are generally used in small stirred fermenters. Stirred fermenters means those fermenters in which the continuous stirring is necessary. And this orifice sparger is can be simply explained as just to take a PVC pipe and place holes completely to it. Complete holes. And the PVC pipe is kept at the center. So that means a shaft is there, and the shaft completely consists of holes through which air bubbles are regulated out. So this is similar to somewhat we to understand clearly we can explain it as like that. And this can also be used without agitation, and some fermentation does not require continuous mixing, and in that cases this type of aerators are mostly used. And next coming to nozzle sparger. This nozzle sparger is generally used in large scale fermentation processes, and this can be observed. This can be similar to the drip irrigation. When we observe in drip irrigation processes, where the plant is there, only there we have an opening, and water comes in the form of tiny droplets. That is mostly we observe in an area where the water scarcity is more. In that cases, we generally use drip irrigation processes. So in that drip irrigation, we slowly use the water which we have in the form of tiny droplets, and only in the place where we have plant, only there we make a nozzle, and there we allow the water to flow out. So similar to that one, when we compare this one to our bioreactor sparges, it is similar that the central shaft is present, and where the impellers are present, only there we have bubbles. Not like the previous one, like orifice sparger, we did not have holes completely, but only where the impellers are present, only there we have sparges. And like this, there are different types of sparges which are generally used to produce air. So next slide, please. And so next coming to agitation. Agitation means continuous mixing of the substances. That is, here once the fermentation process is started, we have media and microorganisms together in the fermenter. So we just consider it as a fermentation mixture. So this fermentation mixture sometimes requires continuous mixing, and this mixing is brought about by the impellers present in it. And these impellers are arranged in the form of a central shaft with different types of impellers fitted to it, similar to that of the fan, normal ceiling fan. When we consider normal ceiling fan, we have a central shaft, uh, and different, fans. And the plates we use are generally called as impellers. And for those impeller and for the rotation of fan, we generally need to have a current, that is power supply, and the fan speed is adjusted with the help of a regulator. So when we compare this one to our bioreactor, we generally have a shaft with the impellers present with the three different directions, not continuously present. We have in the opposite directions, and its speed is regulated with the help of pulleys. Next slide, sir. And there are different types of agitators, that means impellers. There are open, partially open, and closed. In the open type of agitator, vanes are attached to the central hub. That means, see, this open are same like that of the electric fan we have in our homes. Similar. And those fans blades are considered as an impellers, and they are very structurally weak. And when those impellers are very large in diameter, the complete mixing does not occur. And the open impellers or open agitators are used only in the small fermenters which are having a less diameter only. And next coming to partially open. These partially open are generally used in the liquid fermentations, which is having a semi-solid microorganism. That means not completely solid media, but liquid media like sugar cane, malt. So we have different types of media. So we use it mostly in the liquid media, and this partially open media is having a back wall, and these are you mainly use it for the medium diameter consisting of medium diameter fermenter. And next coming to the closed fermenter, it is generally operated in solid medium, which prevents the extract from clogging. as I have told you that there are different types of media, solid, semi-solid, and liquid media. These, when there are solid media present, they require a strong blades, that means a strong impellers, and mostly these closed impellers are used there. And when the liquid is continuously mixing, there forms an vortex which is removed by baffles. And this vortex is generally what we call as, when we continuously stir, let us take a glass of water and we continuously stir, middle we obtain some of like volcanoes type we obtain in the middle, tornadoes like we obtain. So to prevent that formation, we have baffles at the side of the fermenter which prevent the formation of vortex. So next slide please. And next we have probes for pH. See, we have different types of pH, different types of pH, that means acidic pH, basic pH, and neutral pH. And the pH in this fermental is generally measured by using an auto titrator, which is connected to the pH probe. And when the pH is more than the required pH, uh, acid substance is added to reduce the pH, and when the pH is less than the required pH, a base is generally added to maintain the pH. So that based upon the type of the fermentation and the type of microorganisms used, the pH is adjusted by measuring with the help of the pH probes. In the olden days, we have on our pH meter attached to it, but now all these functions are generally carried out. These are generally attached to an electric computer, and we can see all the details in the computer clearly. And this is fully automated, and we not need to add acid or base nowadays. But in the olden time, when previously first created one, we have done all those processes like that. So next slide. And next, coming to inoculation portal. See, for sometimes in continuous types of fermentation, we need to add media continuously with the harvesting of the older media. In that case, this is not like an autoclave where we can open the lid completely and to add media. This is a completely closed vessel. So for the addition of the media, we need to have a mm, separate point that is known as inoculation media, and this inoculation media should be completely aseptic, where because aseptic means without any foreign microorganism, that means only the required type of microorganism should be added or should be given with the media, and no other type of the media, no other type of microorganism should be given, and this should be completely sterile. Because once the media just a milligram of media contamination may also lead to the complete contamination of the fermentation process, and this may lead to a great loss in the fermentation product, and completely a lot of money gets wasted, and the complete wastage occurs. So we need to be very careful to maintain our inoculation port as sterile, and it should be completely aseptic, and the main care should be taken, and the complete bioreactor should be aseptic. But once the fermentation process starts also, we need to assure that our inoculation port is completely sterile. So next slide please. Next, sampling line. Once the process started, with our normal visualization, with our normal physical appearance, we cannot assume up to how much the process has been completed and how much time will it take to complete the process. That means, for example, let us take alcoholic beverage preparation, that is alcoholic fermentation. We cannot see and say has as the fermentation process is completed or not. For that use, we have imported an sampling line from where we can obtain the sample at any time of the fermentation process and can measure the quality. That means the alcohol or the substance which we need to produce is in our quality or not, or is having a complete, or the pH we can measure. See what not, we can measure the pH, or we can test the quality. And and withdrawal can be done at any time during the fermentation process. And for this purpose, this sampling line is imparted into the bioreactor. So next slide, please. Next, foam controlling devices. This is the major problem where the media is having proteins or peptides. See, for the growth of microorganism, all the types of nutrients are required. All the type of nutrients means it includes proteins and peptides also. When proteins and peptides are continuously split, the foam is definitely formed. And for this removal of foam, we generally use foam control devices. And these foam control devices measured are measured by having foam probe that is present at the top of the fermenter. And the when this foam probe is comes in contact with the foam, it produces some detection. And we have, and in the olden, see, these all are present in the olden days one only. Now, as I have told that now the present fermenters are having completely automated machines only. At that time, when the foam is produced, it is generally removed by a stick present on the surface of the fermenter, and foam is removed. To prevent this foam, we generally also use different types of anti-foam agents. And I have mentioned that there are two different types of anti-foam agents, namely crude antifoams and inert antifoams. Crude antifoams are lard oil, corn oil, and octadecanol. And inert antifoams are silicone compounds. Generally, crude antifoams are cheap in cost, and they are mostly used. Inert antifoams are silicone compounds that are prepared artificially, and they are generally high cost. That is, they are expensive. So next slide, please. Next, harvest line. As I have already mentioned that it is not an open vessel. It is completely closed vessel, and after the fermentation process, uh, we need to withdraw our media and our fermented product completely. And for this withdrawing, we generally have an harvest line which is present at the center of the bioreactor. And once we open the harvest line, which is generally regulated by a knob like that, once we open that harvest line, we can completely withdraw our media and our fermented product. And these are the basic ones, which basic care should be taken that all these substances should be present in that bioreactor or fermenter. And there are different types of bioreactor and different types of fermenters present. So next slide, please. Next slide, sir. And the first one is laboratory fermenter. These are generally used in all laboratories. See, I have all when we prepare alcohol, we have I think mostly final year students may have done this experiment in our labs. That preparation of alcohol with the use of yeast, dry yeast, and this we have done, and this is done in the conical flask. And mainly, mostly, Earl Mayer flask is generally used in the laboratories to perform. And this laboratory fermenter is generally suitable for monoculture, that is mostly suitable for only producing a single type of product and not different types of product. And these are generally used in our laboratories, microbiological laboratories present everywhere. And it is having only capacity around 1 to 1.5 liters. So next slide, please. Next, coming to pilot scale fermenter. Once we start an experiment, for example, let us take penicillin production. First, when we need to prepare the penicillin, we first of all we need to know all the different types of temperature, at which temperature we need to form. Coming from the main body, which type of main body, either steel glass, steel should be used or glass should be used, or different types of sparges, or if I sparges or nozzle sparges should be used. And coming to the impellers, which type of impeller should be used. Keeping in consideration with all these programs and all these parameters, we need to build a small scale fermenter. That means first of all, when we start an experiment, we cannot do experiment using a large quantity of media and large quantity of microorganisms. The first experiment should be done with the small amount of media and small amount of microorganisms. And for this purpose, we generally use pilot scale fermenter. This pilot scale fermenter is used in the small scale industries and it completely represents the large scale industrial fermenter. That means, for example, how we say the cell represents a complete organism or a complete organ. So similar to that, this pilot scale fermenter represents the fermenter process which is used in the large scale industry, and it is having a capacity around 12 to 15 liters. So next slide please. Next, coming to the production fermenter. And this production fermenter is generally used in larger scale industries, and as I have told you that it is very much near, very close to the pilot scale fermenter. That means here it is same to that of the pilot scale fermenter, but the difference is that it is having a larger capacity. That means a large amount of media and large quantity of microorganisms can be used, and a large amount of fermentation product can be obtained. And this capacity is around 50 to 250 liters. So next slide please. Next, coming to continuous stirred tank bioreactor. As I have told you that there are different types of microorganisms where different where we need continuous stirring and no stirring is required, and based on those parameters we have generated a different type of bioreactor known as continuous stirred tank bioreactor. In this type of bioreactor, the media should be continuously stirring, and this stirring is done mainly by the use of impellers, and these impellers are different types like concave bladed, rostrum disc, and marine propeller. And from in this continuously stirred tank bioreactor, air is added through a single orifice. That means only a single hole is present, and and from that single hole only, and that from single orifice only, we obtain the complete air which is required for the fermentation process. And as I have told you that the airs are produced in the form of a small bubbles, and those bubbles are broken down into the further smaller ones with the help of those impeller. And the main type of using this continuous stirred tank bioreactor is continuous stirring makes the media to mix continuously, and air is equally distributed to all the microorganisms. And the main reason why we use this continuous bioreactor is it good mixing of contents is provided. That means media is continuously mixed. See, well, when we leave the media or without the fermentation like that only without any mixing, the microorganisms which are present below, that means that is nearer to the sparger, will get high amount of air and start growing. But without the mixing, the microorganisms present at the top layer cannot get a high amount of air as they require. So this may cause some disturbances, and sometimes some microorganisms may also die, and this may also lead to difference in the formation of the product, and hence the continuous mixing is necessary. And for those processes where the continuous mixing is necessary, this type of continuous stable tank bioreactor is generally used. And this is the end of my session. Thank you.
So it was really informative, Srivalli. Thank you for this informative session, and thank you for maintaining integrity of Biosetup Life Science. We really feel delighted to have you. So now I would like to request our students, if they have any questions, please come and ask. So there is question by Patel Jay. What is the difference between bioreactor and fermenter?
Yes, sir. Bioreactor means only a single time we use it. That means once the